Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us again. My name is Lori Oldham from the Office of Student Affairs at City College, and if you were able to join us on Monday, you might remember that we have some very special guests in honor of Financial Fitness Month, and we have our community partner, Cal Coast, facilitating some workshops. So we have a four-part workshop series. One of them has already happened on Monday, and today we have another one. So I'd like to introduce our guest, Teralyn Rose, and she's from California Coast, and she is the manager of financial fitness and coaching. And I can tell you she's a fabulous coach. So welcome again, Teralyn. I appreciate you coming, and I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much. So happy to share all these wonderful tools. We're here today talking about budgeting. And you notice the way I said that. I kind of feel like budgeting has a bad connotation. It's a bad taste in my mouth. So we're going to change that terminology and talk about creating a plan for your finances, a plan for your paycheck to make it work for you. A little background on me. I have been doing financial fitness now for 14 years at California Coast Credit Union. I started doing the process and I was the first client. I owed about $46,000 in credit card debt and had no idea how to get out of it. Bad credit score, fees all over the place. This service that we do is amazing. It's a free benefited membership at California Coast Credit Union. So if you are interested in setting up appointments, we do meet one-on-one for free. We have a lot of great tools for you at the end. I'll share a link for our Enrich program that's completely free for you guys to use. Lots of articles, videos, information that you can share to help set up your budget. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen with you so we can start talking about this wonderful word budget. And you're going to cross this off because what I hear when I hear that word budget is all the things that you can't do, right? You can't go on vacation. You can't go hang out with your friends. You can't have donuts. It's like being on a diet when someone tells you that you can't have pizza, you can't have donuts. So my little inner rebellious child comes out and says, oh yeah, watch me, I'm going to go. And it's nice to have donuts sometimes. I use that kind of as a reward. There's Mary's Donuts and Santee, has these bite-sized powdered covered donuts filled with Bavarian cream that are so amazing. That is my birthday gift to myself, going to Hodad's, getting some bacon cheeseburgers and some chocolate malts and some onion rings. That's kind of a nice little thing to have. So same thing when you're creating this budget, this plan is I want to put fun in there. We're working really hard for the money that we have. I want to make sure that we're enjoying and getting that money to do what you want it to do. So today we're going to go over these steps to creating this plan so that we can make your money get where you want to be. And there's these steps. We call it the 7-step plan, but there's 5 steps here. Review your income and assets, review your expenses, set your goals. That's really important to having a plan that succeeds. Making your plan and then following your plan, which honestly is the hardest part. But we're going to talk about each of these steps individually. So step 1, we have to gather our data so that we know where we're starting from, right? So step 1 is knowing what our starting point is. So we're going to start gathering our income, and we're going to look at every single piece of income that we have. The gross income that we earn on our paycheck. I want to really know if I earn $10 an hour and I work 10 hours, I've got $100. That's my gross income. Wouldn't it be nice if we got to keep it? But no, we got to pay taxes. We have to pay 401k. We have to, pay any kind of fees that we have. So I want you to look at the gross income and the net income, really know where every dollar that you earn is going, and also look at taxes. This is actually a really good little bit of information for you guys. People get all excited about getting these huge tax returns back. I just had a guy who was getting $10,000 back. He's like, oh, I get to pay off all my debt. I'm so excited. I'm like, you understand, if you think about your tax return as your change, I use this analogy. If I go to the grocery store and I think I'm going to spend about $100, I go and I check out and I have gift cards and coupons and I only owe $50. I hand the cashier my $100 bill and she says, thank you very much. I'll give you your $50 back next year. How many of you would go back to that grocery store? I want my money now. I've got other things I can do with it. So give me my change back now. Well, that's what your tax return is. You are pulling money out of your paycheck because you've estimated what you owe. Then you go and you file your taxes, you got credits, you've got deductions, and you only owe this amount, and they give you all of your change back. So if they're giving you $1,000 back, that's $84 a month of your income that they're holding, paying you zero dividends. It's doing nothing for you. And if you've got debt that you're paying 20% on, or student loans you're paying 6% on, that money can work a little bit harder for you than the federal government holding it with zero dividends. So if you get back more than $1,000, I want you to talk to your tax advisor and potentially make some adjustments to get the money working for you now. Okay. Also look at bonuses, break it down into a monthly amount. If you get a tax return, break it down to a monthly amount. We're using all of that income. If I get any reimbursements for mileage, if I get tips, that's a really good one. A lot of people have jobs where they get tips. The money goes in their pocket, goes out of their pocket. They have no idea how much they're actually earning. So, keep track for at least a month and see what you're earning in tips. If you have any hobbies where you're selling and earning it. So we're writing all this stuff down. Grab a piece of paper, start writing it down. Okay. Next one we're going to talk about is our expenses. We're going to look at our monthly expenses and our occasional expenses. So I want you to go back and really start writing things down. Think about anything that has a due date. And if you're not sure, if you have some things that are automatically being withheld from your account, look at your statement, look at your credit card statements. It might only be $1.99. So start thinking about all of the bills that automatically get charged, maybe annually, maybe monthly, but monthly is really what I want to focus on right now. Think about the things you have to pay. This is an obligation. You have a due date. It's going to be charged every month, right? Think of some big ones here in San Diego. A really, really, really big one is rent. So mortgage, write that down. Any auto insurance that you have to pay, your cell phone bill, SDG&E, maybe water bill, maybe trash bill. And then I also want you writing down all of the little ones that might pop up that we don't think about. It's only $1.99. It's only $4.99. It's only $11.99. All those streaming services that we pay for. I just had someone who had 10 different streaming services with paying $200 a month for it. So it might only be $1.99 for cloud storage. Write it down. If it has a due date and you are paying it automatically, write it down. We're also going to talk about the variable expenses. We're going to write down what you spend for groceries, what you spend for gas, what you spend for meals out. Are there any regular monthly expenses that you spend for hobbies? We're writing all of this down. And if you're not sure how much you spend, and I will tell you, when I started writing my expenses down, I thought I spent about $50 on meals out, about $300 on groceries. We don't go out to eat very often. And then I tracked my spending. This is a hugely important step to setting up a plan that works for you, because I thought I was spending $300 in groceries. And when I tracked, it was $600. I thought I was spending $50 on meals out. We don't go out to nice places very often. And then, I forgot we go get pizza after soccer practice. I forgot we go get Jamba Juice after Girl Scouts. I forgot that we go to Soup Plantation every weekend. I was actually spending $250 and I had no idea. That's why every financial guru you tell you is going to say you need to track your expenses to really gain an awareness of where every dime that you earn goes. Maybe you're putting $1 in the vending machine for water every day at work. That's $30 right there. Maybe you're going to get coffee. That's $5 a day times 30. That's $150 a month for coffee. And you're not thinking about it because it's only $5. Right? So we need to write these expenses down, track it. There's all these great options online, but I am going to highly recommend that during the first 30 days of tracking that you use receipts. I have a really awesome tool that I'll be able to share with you that you can, kind of break it down into the correct categories. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for you, the tracking sheet that we have. So this is where we go in and you'll see this top section are all the weekly day-to-day stuff that we do every week, every month, the gas, the groceries, the meals out, coffee, entertainment, that kind of fun stuff. Down here on the bottom section are the occasional expenses that we're going to talk about. So I want to break it down into and really get my receipt. If I go to Costco, if I go to Target, I can live under the roof of Target and Costco and never leave. They've got everything that I need, right? I got the treadmill that I can burn off the chicken in my really cool running shoes. I have everything that I need, but all I'm going to see on my statement is Costco. Maybe I got $40 cash back and went and got a new pair, went and saw a movie or something. It's still just going to say Costco. So get receipts, break it down into the correct categories, but track your expenses for at least 30 days to really gain an in-depth awareness. Now, I do this and I say this is important because if I tried to set up a budget or a plan with $300 in groceries and $50 in meals out, I have already failed because that is not what I am actually spending. So once I track and get that awareness, I know how much my money has to be allocated towards food. And if it's not what I want to accomplish, then I got to take a look at that, right? So tracking is a really important step to setting up a budget or a plan that works for you. So highly recommend you do that for at least 30 days. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about, I talked about that one, is the periodic expenses. So this is one we touched a little bit on Monday that we really don't think about very often. These are the expenses that are a part of our life, but they only happen occasionally. So we don't really think about it on a day-to-day basis. We spend our money in the daily and the weekly and the gas and the groceries and the meals out and the bills. And then we have these expenses that come up that we have to pay for, but we don't think about it. And it's like, oh, I don't have the money for it. And it typically goes on credit cards. So I want us to plan for this in your budget. And I keep saying that word and it's a bad taste in my mouth. But I want you to plan for this in your plan that we know these expenses are going to happen. So we talked a little bit about auto expenses last time. I also want to talk about home expenses. So here's an example of how to break this down for these very real expenses that we have. You have a cell phone more than likely, and those cell phones do not last. I wish they did, but there was one memorable 6-month period where I went through 3 cell phones. Dropped one in a puddle of water and could not bring it back with the rice. That one was gone. Then I dropped an ice pick right on the face of my brand new cell phone, cracked it to smithereens, could not bring it back, had to get a new one. And I swear 2 months later, I'm walking to go volunteer and it falls out of my pocket. So 3 cell phones that I went through in 6 months. And, knock on wood, that doesn't happen to everybody, but it can. So I want to make sure that we have money set aside for replacing that. So I don't get stuck in their $40 a month, 24-month plan. Because if I have to do their plan and I lose that cell phone and I have to get another one, now I'm paying $80 a month, half of that for a phone I don't have anymore. So this is why I want us putting money aside for it. Same with a computer. I'm going to break it down into a smaller amount. So $1,000, they have to get one in 5 years, divide that by 60 months. It's only $17 a month. That's easy. But if I don't put that $17 a month aside and $1,000 my computer breaks down, I got to replace it. Typically, I go to Best Buy, charge it. I get free, 0% for 12 months. I never pay it off in 12 months. And then I'm paying 26.99%. So it's really important to plan ahead for these decor. If you're moving into your own place, you want to get pillows, you want to get sheets, you want to replace your glasses in the kitchen, in the bathroom. All of these things are a part of your life, right? So this adds up to about $1,400 a year. That is $116 a month, okay? So I want us including that in my plan. The other things to think about are on here. So I have this really cool periodic expense calculator, and it kind of breaks down some of those, expenses that we have. So household repair items, we talked about that. $116 a month, I need to plan for that. Medical, dental, vision. Has anybody been in an accident or has been injured where you had to pay $100 copay? Like, I am the poster child for medical expenses. I had back surgery. I was out of work for a year. I had Bell's palsy. I had chronic fatigue. I had 3 blood infections. I was in the hospital 3 days. I have a $300 day copay, so $900 out of my pocket. Typically, if I don't have that money set aside, goes on credit cards. Okay. The DMV renewal, if you've got a car, mine's $240. Divide that by 12 months. I'm setting that money aside. Auto repairs, we talked about that on Monday. Auto insurance, vacation travel, clothing, shoes, socks, underwear. I am a voracious volleyball player. One good solid pair of shoes is $150. I go through one a year. I also walk a lot, so that's another $150 for a good solid pair of shoes. So just for 2 pairs of shoes every year, $300 is in my plan. Okay, gifts and holidays, that's a really good one I have up here. I really want you guys to do this. This gift grid, I just did this with someone who said, oh, I think I do $500. And then when we completed this, it was $1,300. So there's a blank one on here that I put the names of people across the top. And then these are all the different events that we spend money on. So New Year's Day, I'm going to put my name on there first, and then mom's, dad's, aunts, uncles, nephews, partner, whoever. And then so New Year's Day, I don't spend money per se on me, but I do go out and spend money on food and drinks for New Year's Eve. Valentine's Day, I do little things for my daughters. Easter, yes, I have twins. They're 30 years old. I did do Easter baskets. I spent about $50. Mother's Day, cards, gift, flowers. Memorial Day, my friends and I barbecue. I spend about $50. 4th of July, same thing. We do a big one, big $200 for that. Labor Day, there's another barbecue. We have a lot of fun. Halloween is buying a costume for myself, but it's also buying candy. So there's this example of all these different events that we have. There's Christmas, which is the gifts for everybody, but then also I do a Christmas tree, we do Christmas dinner, we do a Christmas event, we do Christmas cards, we do a lot of stuff at Christmas. That's a really big one for me. So I'm putting all that money in there. And then the birthday parties, the weddings, baby showers, work parties. I don't know about you guys, but when you start your job, like we potluck all of the time. And then if you have kids, their birthday party where you're doing the cake and the decorations and the pizza and the little goodie bags. And if you get a pony ride and the jumpies, it adds up. So we're going to put all this together, and you'll take, I don't know if you guys can see that because it's kind of small, but it's $3,200. So we would put that in the gift and holiday, break that down between 12 months, and that will give you a pretty good idea of what you need to set aside if you're going to spend all that money at Christmas. And those are things that we do, right? So I definitely want to make sure that we're planning ahead for that. And then here's the other part that really ends up damaging plans are the unexpected expenses. And these are ones that you can't really plan for. You hope, knock on wood, they never happen, but they do happen. Maybe your job is letting people go and you're out of work for 3 months because you can't find a job right now, or you don't want to work at Chuck E. Cheese. Maybe there's a fire and you lose everything. Maybe you get in a car accident. I've been in 3. None of them were my fault, but I have been in 3 car accidents and I did have to pay out of pocket for those expenses before I got reimbursed. Are you in trouble if you're in a car accident tomorrow? If you are, then you don't have a really good, strong, financially stable base. We want to increase that by setting some funds aside. We have earthquakes, medical bills. We talked a little bit about that. So these we definitely want to put into our plan. And then, I don't like to talk about it, but sometimes we do have family members who pass away. And I want to make sure that we're ready for them financially, even if we're not ready for it emotionally. Okay, moving on from that sad subject. Let's move on. So I have a quick question. What are you thinking about this? What is an example of an expected occasional expense? So I have brakes for your car, computer, new shoes, cell phone, or all of the above. So are all of these expected or unexpected? Or think about this. And when I was thinking about what kind of things we need to plan for, do you need to plan for brakes? Yes. Do you need to plan for your computer? It's not going to last forever. Do I need to plan for new shoes? Yes, they get holes. Do I need to plan for a cell phone? Yes, it's not going to last forever. So the answer here will be E, all of the above. These are all expected periodic expenses I want us to plan for. Okay. The next really important thing to setting up a budget or a plan that works for you is setting up goals. This for me is what did the trick. It kind of turned my thinking around because I took a look at what really mattered to me. What do you want your money to do? What do you think When you see somebody who's financially successful, financially fit, what do they look like to you? Does that mean they own their own job? Does that mean they get to retire when they're 50? Does that mean they're a homeowner by the time they're 30? Does that mean they've got $10,000 in a savings account? What does that look like to you? What does financially successful mean to you? And when you take a look at the tracking, is that spending helping you achieve that? If it's not, why are we doing it? And what can we do differently? This is where having something that matters to you that you're trying to accomplish can really flip that switch. So I'm talking about really specific goals, not just I want to be debt free, not just I want to save. I want to be specific. I want to save $5,000 in the next year. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. That's why I want to take a look at that goal and make sure it meets all of these metrics. So specific, I have this amount, time frame, place that I want to accomplish. I can measure my progress. I've got a time frame, 12 months. I've got an amount, 5,000. Is it attainable? Well, $5,000, I put that into my plan, and that's a little bit much. Okay, I could do 1,000. That's $84 a month. That's I get paid biweekly, $42 a paycheck, $21 a week. I can do that. I could probably even do 2,000. So I can change that goal to be more attainable. That's really important. People come in all the time and say, I want to pay off $10,000 in debt in 1 year. Like, that's over $830 more a month going towards debt. Now, if you're already in debt, that means you're spending more than you're making. So how are we going to do that? Now, if it's something that really, really matters, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. You're going to sell things. You're going to get a part-time job. You're going to move and rent a room. You're going to rent out a room. You're going to do whatever it takes if the goal matters to you. That's where having this specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time frame based goal is going to help you look at that spending differently, right? Is this spending helping me achieve this goal? If it's not, why am I doing it? What can I do differently? So having these goals in place is crucial to having a budget that actually works for you. Now we've got all the information. I've got my income, all of my mileage reimbursements. So here's an example of how to complete this. I figured out what I need to set aside for my occasional expenses, and I do that first. So I'm planning ahead. I'm setting money aside for the what if, my emergency. What if I lose my job? Am I okay to pay rent for the next couple of months? My retirement, because I need to plan now for my future self and not wait. I've got my fixed expenses, my variable expenses, my debt payments, and my bottom line is positive with all of that plugged in. Now, if it is negative, that means with all of your expenses plugged in, you're living beyond your income. This is where those occasional planning ahead for the periodic really affects this bottom line, because we can be fine, each month for 3 months doing gas and groceries, and then we have to buy tires, and now I'm struggling. So if I put that into my plan and I see how that impacts my bottom line on a monthly basis, now I'm going to be more realistic about my plan. I'm going to be able to see that total bottom line, and I can go back in. And if it's negative, I need to either A, increase income, or B, decrease expenses. It's super black and white, that bottom line. This is where it's such a helpful tool to kind of go in and plug in your numbers and see that. Because if I want to live within my income, which is what a budget is all about, I need to plan ahead for those expenses. I need to have a positive bottom line, right? That is it. Because if it's negative, that means I'm either pulling money out of my savings until the savings is gone, or I'm using my credit cards until the credit card balances are gone, and then I'm in trouble, right? And I really don't want us using credit cards for things that I know I have to spend. I know I have to buy tires every 3 years. I know I'm going to have to replace my cell phone and my computer. Those are not maybes, they're absolutes. So I need to have that in my plan and make sure my bottom line is positive, okay? You're going to notice here too, the bottom is goal money. It says goal money. And that means that this $115 positive on this cash flow, I can now use to help me reach my goal even faster, right? So that's where knowing what you want to accomplish is really huge. When I looked at my spending and I said, I'm spending $250 on meals out. Is that helping me with my goal of doing $4,000 a year on a vacation account so I can create amazing memories for me and my daughters? No. So why am I doing it? Why am I spending $250? One, there's a habit of going to Soup Plantation every weekend. $40. That's $160 a month right there. That I'm eating a lot of muffins, but I'm not going to Maui, right? So do I want to eat more muffins or do I want to go to Maui? I have choices in how I spend my money. And once I know what I want to accomplish, I can look at that and make some different choices. Like maybe I only go to Soup Foundation once a month. That's an option. I still get to enjoy the muffins, but then I get to put the rest into my Maui account, right? So I always have choices. And once I know what I want to accomplish, I can make my plan help me achieve that goal. Here's the hard part. Here's the really hard part is sticking to the plan. So ask yourself these questions as you go along. Once I've got a plan in place, I've got a positive cash flow, I'm setting money aside. Do I want this or do I need this? That's a really helpful tool to go down every single expense on my plan. Is this helping me achieve my goal? If it's not, why am I doing it? What psychological, what emotional need is this spending fulfilling? And what can I do differently? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't buy that cute black leather jacket? If I don't go to Soup Plantation every weekend? Yeah, nothing really. Is there another way? What else can I do? If I really want to go to Soup Plantation, is there another, where else can I reduce my expenses to live within my income, right? If I increase an expense, I've got to decrease someplace else. If I want to live within that income, I've got to increase income, decrease expenses. It's really black and white. Just bottom line is what drives this, right? So that is everything. All the steps that you need to set up a budget that works for you, knowing what you want to accomplish, knowing that bottom line, seeing the bottom line. So I have on here one last little bit that we have is these financial wellness resources, calcosu.org/enrich. I'm actually going to go ahead and put some information in the chat for you guys. So you can just click on the link. Let me go ahead and put that on here for you. Let me get over to the Zoom, stopping the share. All right, does anybody have, this is a live version, no questions, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll also put that in the chat for you. My number is 858-636-3056, and my email is trose@calcoastcu.org. So if you want help in any of these steps or in all of the steps, this is a free service that we offer at CalCoast. Thank you.
My goodness, I really enjoyed that. That was so dynamic. And so the B word to me can also be frightening. So budgeting, just as you said, can have negative connotations to it. So because it sounds like it's restriction. It is, and it is, but we don't want to think of it that way. So I love the way that you reverse or that you change the budget to the plan. The plan is powerful. Yes, absolutely. Carolyn, I want to thank you again so much for coming today and joining us for our financial fitness workshop series. I wanted to just say that for those of you watching, Carolyn will be back next week on Monday and Thursday again from 1 to 1:30, where she's going to go over credit scores on Monday and Thursday, student loans, which should be very interesting given that many of our students have student loan debt. And so we'll be able to talk, or you'll be able to hear all about some things. I want to thank you again for coming, Carolyn. Thank you for your time and your efforts. For those of you watching, thank you for tuning in. This is going to be recorded. It is recorded, so you'll see it show up in the next 24 hours, and you'll be able to access it time and time again. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, I'm Lori Oldham with the Office of Student